Who's?
Hello! Is anybody in there? I hope so, because I'm in here. I'm actually out here. I'm actually out in my living room. I'm not really in anywhere. This is Killer K-Rail. This is Rail Time in real time with my partner in crime, Jason Craig, all the way from Grenada in the Caribbean, where it's 90 degrees hot and humid down there. And here it's like 85 degrees with no humidity, and I will actually take my weather over yours for a change, Jason. I will have you know. Because I do
enjoy.
I don't do good with skeeters. Oh, look at the kitty. Is that yours?
Hi. Yeah, he's doing his muscle soreness repair work
Oh my gosh.
here.
What's his name?
I just call him Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good enough. Fair enough. Works for me. Anyway,
Perfect.
welcome from Grenada, and I'm gonna have my phone over here in case anybody has any questions. We're gonna talk about muscle soreness today, and we're gonna talk about recovery because my friend Sola from back in Pennsylvania asked this question a few weeks ago. So we listened to the people, and we're gonna address muscle soreness and recovery and how to balance the two and why they happen in the whole 9 yards. So first of all,
Okay.
Jason, what do you know about muscle soreness?
I know what it feels like to finish the gym and be in pain for the next few days. That's what I know. Yeah, I've experienced it a lot, especially after intense training sessions. But I'm actually interested in the show because I haven't found a way to permanently remove it or even deal with it. All I have been doing is ice cold showers. That's the only thing I learned from those athletes, like those sprinters. After they finish the training camp, they'll jump them right into an ice cold shower. So that's the only thing I know. So I'm super excited about your show.
Did you ever jump into a bucket of ice?
Hell
Like
no,
a,
I ain't
like
doing
a
that.
tub. Did you ever jump into a tub that was loaded with ice cold water with ice in it? Did you ever do that?
Hell no, I ain't doing that.
That takes, people call me crazy sometimes. They say, you are nuts. I've seen you work out. I've seen you run barefoot. I've seen you doing inhumane things, and you are crazy. And that doesn't even, what I do doesn't even come close to jumping into a tub full of ice cold water with ice cubes in it. It takes a whole different level of, I'm not going to use the word insanity, but it takes a whole different mental platform than your average daily high intensity workout. That is so mental, it's unbelievable. That's the whole Wim Hof thing. You've heard of Wim Hof, haven't you?
No, I haven't. No.
You ever heard of Wim Hof?
No, what is that?
Well, Wim Hof is this guy who has created this whole entire workout strategy. It's not really a workout strategy, recovery strategy based on exposing your body to ice cold temperatures. He does hikes in the tundras with bare feet, and he's exposed to cold for long periods of time. And he has training courses out there, people that are certified through him, that teach people how to submerge themselves in ice cold temperatures to help boost their immune system, to help boost their metabolism, and to recover faster, all rolled into one. So one of the ways that you can recover faster is through the medium of the ice cold shower. But it pales in comparison to jumping into the tub full of ice water and ice all at the same time. It sends a shockwave through your body, the likes of which you don't even want to believe when you first do it. But the whole idea is like anything else. It looks like you froze up on me. I think you might be working on that right now. Hopefully you'll come back to us, back to Earth.
No, I was just getting
there you are.
the on my Facebook page. Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. So when you expose your body to those ice cold temperatures like that, magical things happen to the body. It is super therapeutic for you. I remember when I was a young kid, I used to hate wearing jackets. And I used to hate wearing hats and gloves in the winter. And me and my brother would go and stand at the school bus shivering like crazy. And my mom would scream at us, get a hat on, get a coat on. And then we go up for recess at school, elementary school. And we run around playing football and doing all these different things without a jacket, without gloves. And teachers would just point us out and scream at the top of the lungs, get a hat on, get a coat on, or you're not allowed outside. I never wanted to wear coats or gloves or hats. It started at a young age for me. And then, yeah, it's ironic because I do get cold pretty easy in certain situations. But last winter, I went the entire winter without a jacket. And you know what else I noticed? My recoveries from my workouts were through the roof last year, more so than normal.
Wow.
Yeah. I wore a jacket. I had a rule last year. If I'm going to be outside and exposed to cold for more than 30 minutes, I will wear a jacket. If I'm going to an event, which there were still events back then, like aerials and ski things and après ski musicians and stuff, I would go to the event and I would bring a jacket with me. And after 30 minutes was up, I would make the decision if I felt I needed a jacket or not. And I will say, I'll be darned, I went all winter last year without needing the jacket. Brought it with me a few times. I didn't need it. I got acclimated. And
that is interesting.
I felt great. I had no joint pain, no muscle pain, no nothing last winter. Zero, zilch, zip. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit because exposing your body to cold and cold temperatures and cold showers and cold air and rolling around in snow. You may have seen some of my snow videos last year. Did you see them?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those were fun.
As recent as a few weeks ago, we had snow on a Monday here. It was like June 18th or something, and I shot a video out there because I was rolling around in the snow then with just shorts on. So your body gets acclimated just like it does to exercise or just like it does to fasting or anything else. And exposing your body to cold is one of the greatest and easiest, quickest ways to expedite your recoveries. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so I was going to go down that road a little bit later. Let's talk about how muscle soreness develops, first of all, and the difference between muscle sorenesses. So when you're working out, people often say 2 days after work, are like, oh my God, I got all this lactic acid buildup in my biceps. They're killing me. My legs or my quads they're burning every time I move or get up. That's actually not lactic acid. Lactic acid forms in a short-term time frame, usually a minute or less. It's when you're doing 10 to 12 reps of an exercise, your muscle starts to burn. You're building up lactic acid. It's a short-term thing. When you finish your set, the lactic acid hangs around, and then it kind of flushes itself out as your short-term muscle soreness goes away. That burn goes away. People that say, oh, you got to feel the burn and like blah, 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 blah. That burn that you're feeling is lactic acid. But the soreness that you feel after a workout is from tiny muscle fibers being torn down and being pulverized. Then those muscle fibers regrow and your muscle gets bigger and stronger, and that can take a few days. I don't normally get massive muscle soreness. I haven't gotten real bad muscle soreness in a long time. The only time I really do is if I do lunges. If I haven't done lunges in a long time and I do heavy lunges and I do a multiple amount of sets, I'll build up some muscle soreness in my quads usually, and it sometimes will last for a few days, or my glutes. And that can last a few days for me. But what's actually happening, the cause of the muscle soreness, is because your muscles are actually breaking down and they're tearing. There's fine little tears that are occurring. And then in the days after your workout, you're sore as heck because those muscles are torn. But they start to connect back together like this, and they start to grow back together. Your muscle gets stronger, and then your muscle gets bigger. And that's how muscles are built. If you can find the sweet spot where you push yourself to a certain threshold and you stop, you're going to be able to gain strength and size without going into that really deep, painful muscle soreness that everybody thinks they need in order to gain weight and mass, which is absolutely not true at all. So lactic acid is short-term muscle soreness, also known as delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, can occur anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after your workout is over, and it can hang around for up to 5 days, depending on how hard you worked and how much damage did to your muscles. So those are the two differences between the muscle sorenesses out there. If you're brand new to exercise or you do a workout that you haven't done in a long time, like me with lunges, for example, you're more prone to get the long-term delayed onset muscle soreness than you would if your body understands it and you did it, say, 2 or 3 months ago or even a year ago, because your body builds up muscle memory, which you've heard of muscle memory, right? No? Muscle memory? Okay. So it's like if you do a drill like a month and you get good at it and then you park it and don't do it again, and then like a year goes by and you do that drill again, your muscles will acclimate quicker than the very first time you did it, because you have this sensory neuron system in your body where it understands the movement pattern. So it's muscle memory. And then, yeah. So the soreness aspect can range from slight soreness to like really massively bad. And it can hurt for a while and it can hurt for a few days. But as you acclimate again out of the muscle soreness and your muscles get stronger and they recover, then you're good to go for the next X amount of weeks, however long you do that drill. So it is technically in a big picture, it is called delayed onset muscle soreness, but it is relatively short term because it can only last, really, I've never heard of it lasting more than 7 days. But here's one of the problems come in. It's when you do the same type of beefcake workouts over and over again while you're sore, that's a problem. That can lead to permanent muscle damage and this condition called rhabdomyolysis. Have you ever heard of that? Often called rhabdo.
No, I've never heard of that one.
Okay. I'm going to drink some water and let you know.
Go for it.
When CrossFit was a very popular program, I guess it still is kind of popular, but it's losing its grip. We all know that. It's public knowledge now. A lot of the people that are doing CrossFit started to develop rhabdomyolysis because they were doing these high intensity 3/4 body weight overhead squats and like deadlifts and all this stuff at a high volume, at a high pace, short rest breaks. And we're not giving their muscles enough time to recover, and they weren't giving their muscles enough time to flush the lactic acid out. So lactic acid is fine in the beginning, but you don't want it hanging around for a long time, because that can cause permanent muscle damage if you do it for too long and too often. And a lot of the CrossFitters were doing that. And what they were finding out was that delayed onset muscle soreness was lasting not just a week, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And it kept lingering, and it kept working out, and it kept plowing through it. And then it creates this poisonous toxin in the system, and your kidneys have to try to flush it out. Rhabdomyolysis then kicks in. That is a medical condition where your kidneys can suffer permanent damage because it can't get rid of these toxins fast enough because they're so toxic to the body. And then muscles become flaccid and weak and sore at the same time. And then you're in big trouble. And then if your kidneys start getting affected, you have irreversible kidney damage. That's rhabdomyolysis. So if you're working out like hardcore beefcake every single day, and you're doing like the same kind of muscle groups every single day, and you feel that muscle soreness every single day, you have a high risk to get rhabdomyolysis down the road. And it's a very rare condition, but it started to pop up left and right in the CrossFit world. Maybe about 2012 and 13, I remember it being really popular. That's a big no-no. So, yeah. So how can you prevent rhabdomyolysis? How can you prevent muscle soreness? Well, here's the trick of the trade. Like I said, you've got to find your sweet spot. There's nothing wrong with doing high-intensity workouts. There's nothing wrong with doing beefcake workouts. But you want to make sure that you space enough time in between those workouts that your muscles are going to adapt and recover. And what I always say is push the threshold just to the point where it's almost going to do damage and not quite get there. And the way to do that is you got to figure it out in your head where that threshold is. I know the threshold for me. That's why I'm able to work out to a point where I feel worked, like I feel super worked right now from my workout this morning. But I also know that I didn't go too far. I did 200 kettlebell snatches, but if I did 300 kettlebell snatches, I might have been in trouble. And my brachioradialis right here is what hurts when I do a high amount. Like last week, I had muscle soreness. Let's go to that. Yeah, I changed my microcycle, and I started doing kettlebell snatches. And I do this kind of like it's a high intensity circuit, but I do a ton of them. When I say a ton, it's like 200. It's 10 each arm, 20 sets.
Wow.
Or 10 sets, I mean. Yeah, 10 sets of 10 each arm, and then I do 200 jump ropes in between, and I start with a 30-minute high-intensity interval running workout. And it's an hour long, and I call that a beefcake workout. And it's intense. But when you do a ton of snatches, you elicit this muscle right here, which is called the brachioradialis, that runs down the front of the arm. And I had some pretty severe muscle pain last week. Not super severe, but it was severe. And I know from past years, I used to do 300 snatches instead of 200. And when I did 300, that muscle soreness would last for weeks. And I had it for about 3 days last week. The next day after workout, it was the worst. The second day after, it was okay. The third day, it was mild. And now it's not even there at all this week. So I've adapted in week 2, and I'm good to go. Now I can plow through the rest of my 4-week cycle. So I'm good to go with that. And I know my thresholds. So I'm good to go with that. So when you're out there working out and training, you've got to know what your threshold is. And if you want to do compound exercise and trying to bulk up or whatever, that's great. But don't do bench press, deadlift, leg press, lunges 5 days in a row. I wouldn't even suggest doing those like on an alternating day. I would probably wait 3 days before you do that same workout. Do it on like a Monday and then skip 2 days and then do it again like 3 days down the road. And monitor how your muscle soreness is. Then you have to think about how many reps and sets you're doing, how much weight you're doing in those workouts. And then you have to find the sweet spot there. So if you're trying to bulk up, you got to make sure that you have enough weight that you're going to elicit proper muscle gain. But you don't want to go, again, too heavy, too long, too many sets, too many reps, where you're going to have massive muscle soreness for a long period of time. It's going to detract from your training. So you have to find the sweet spots with everything. Most of my training revolves around 3-dimensional movements, kettlebells, body weight. I would say dumbbells on the lighter side, nothing super heavy. I don't do a ton of like really heavy. Even when I was going to the gym, I didn't do a ton of like heavy barbell stuff or anything like that, or heavy squats, back squats, all the things. To me, that doesn't make sense for my lifestyle, and it doesn't make sense for anything that I do outside the gym. My career is not lifting trucks out of ditches that are stuck. I don't push bulldozers around all day. That's not what I do. I don't play professional football. If I did any of those things, I would pay more attention to that kind of workout regime in the gym, but I don't. So you as an individual out there watching at home have to figure out, what is it that I'm trying to do in life? What is going to make me better outside the gym? What is going to make me better as a homebody? Because that's what I am right now. We all are. Whether you want to do it or not. We're homebodies. We're forced in it. We're forced as homebodies right now. It's not even a question. We're going to be for a long time. So in your mind, you have to ask yourself, I got my garage gym set up in there. I've got a Smith machine. I got 500 pounds of weights. I got a barbell. I got dumbbells. I got kettlebells. I got all this heavy beefcake stuff. But what am I doing in life right now? Am I out pushing trucks out of ditches? Is that my career? No. Am I lifting heavy trees up every single day out of positions? Maybe, if you're a landscaper. But on the average, you're probably sitting at your computer all day, working from home.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going into the office, you're wearing a mask, you're looking over your shoulder, you're sitting like this all day long, you're scared to death to go out in public, and you're scared to death of moving left or right. So you're hunched. So is lifting a barbell off the ground, a million pounds of barbells or over your head, going to help you do that better? No. Is something that involves better posture, where you're doing a three-dimensional movement on the ground, where you're rotating side to side, doing a T-press and a push-up, and doing back extension, is that going to help you sit up straighter at your desk? Is doing a cross-body pattern, three-dimensional movement, going to help your brain function at work, regardless if you're sitting right here at home or if you're in your office? The answer to those questions are yes. So you've got to figure out what is your best approach with your workouts, first of all. Then you can worry about muscle soreness second. Now, if you're doing a workout and it's a high-intensity thing you haven't done in a while and you're experiencing muscle soreness, okay, what can you do about it? So this is one thing you can do about what Jason said, except I'm going to interject, not going to interject, I'm going to add to what you said about the cold showers.
Stick a pin, right?
Okay.
Because I don't want the listeners to miss this part. Mm-hmm. Let me just circle back to the part where you're talking about lifting weights and gaining that muscle soreness, knowing the threshold mentally. Yeah. Now, what about for persons like ladies who don't really lift weights? Some ladies who don't really lift weights, they do more body weight type workouts, but yet they still experience muscle soreness. Mm-hmm. Most of them are beginners. How would they know mentally what that threshold is for them?
Mm-hmm. Here's how you default to it. Always master the movement pattern and always start with a light amount of reps and sets of everything. Uh-huh. So I oftentimes will build programs in a range that is 4 rounds or 4+ rounds or 3 rounds, if you will. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you want to do, if you're like absolutely brand new to exercise, you don't do 3 and you don't do 4 and you don't do 5 rounds of anything. You do 1 round. And if I say, I want you to do 10 reps of this exercise and 10 reps of this one, and I show you 8 exercises to do, and you're brand new, at the point of each exercise where you feel 90% quality has been diminished to 80%, you stop. So if I say, I want you to do 10 squat, hand walk, push-ups, and then you get to 5 and your form is breaking down and you're huffing and puffing, you're done. You're done. Mm-hmm. And then you rest, and then you go to your next exercise, and etc. And if you're doing 5 sets of 10 push-ups, and you're on set number 3, and you're on number 7, and your back is arching, and your butt is going in the air, and your knees are on the ground, and your form is horrible, you're done. That's it. There's your threshold.
Okay.
So the minute that you have to be honest with yourself, this is the honor system. I can't be there to chaperone 1 million people at once. So the minute you feel that you have reached a quality that's 90%, that's less than 90%, then you're done with that set, and that's your threshold right there. That's your rep range. And people ask me about rest breaks all the time. They say, I'm doing a circuit workout. I'm doing 10 exercises. What rest break should I use? And I said, as soon as you can go from exercise A to exercise B and still exhibit 90% quality or better, there's your rest break. If it takes you 30 seconds to rest before you can do 90% quality of your next exercise, great, it's 30 seconds. If it's 15 seconds, great. If it's 60 seconds, great. But again, you have to go back to the honor system and you have to honor your body and you have to be honest with yourself. Am I doing this exercise with 90% quality or better? And if it's not, then rest longer and then go to your next exercise. Does that make sense?
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, especially for the beginners who trying to figure out what that threshold is. So now we know the threshold. We should stay within our threshold, whether we're using heavy weights or whether we are using our body weight. You started answering this question, so I'll allow you to finish. How do we fix muscle soreness?
Okay. Now, this is a crazy thing that I know for a fact works, and I never do it because of 2 reasons. One, My flesh is actually highly sensitive. 2, I never get to the point where I feel I need to do it. So the minute you finish a workout, you don't wait until 5 hours later and then jump in a cold shower. Yes, it'll cause comfort for that time frame and for a little while after. But the trick of the trade is, as soon as you are finished with the workout and you allege that you're going to be sore, you get your buns in the shower immediately and you turn the hot water on as hot as you can and you tolerate it as long as you can. Then you go cold as long as you can and tolerate it as long as you can, and you go back and forth about 5 times.
Wow.
And you treat it like it's reps and sets of a sprint interval. So I just ran up this hill and I did 20 sprint intervals on this hill. I jump in the shower, you turn the heat up as hot as you can take it, as long as you can, turn it to cold as you can, as long as you can, and go back and forth 5 times.
Okay.
And you probably will have absolutely zero muscle soreness. I was told, it was back years ago, like 2013, I was doing a live 6-pack challenge at the gym. And the gal I was dating at the time came to my class and she was telling me about doing that trick. She didn't go as elaborate as I just explained it to you, but she just said hot and cold after the workout. She goes, I don't feel an ounce of muscle soreness. So then I started playing with it and I came upon revelation that go as long as you can with each one of those back and forth about 5 times. And I never felt an ounce of muscle soreness. I was able to adapt to it. And then I just got out of doing it because it was so uncomfortable for me. But, yeah.
So you mentioned that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I started in the winter when I was walking around without a jacket. I started doing cold showers as well, and I worked my way up to like 30 seconds after my workouts. And again, I felt no muscle aches, no joint pain, no nothing, all day. In addition to walking outside cold. And then when I went outside in the cold air, it felt like nothing because I was exposed to the cold shower. So it worked wonderful, like magic.
So we got cold showers or cold dips, we're gonna call it. We got alternating between hot and cold.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can do to help alleviate muscle soreness?
Yeah. So fasting is a huge one.
Okay, explain.
So the word acid is basically the problem with everything. So when you eat 6 meals a day and you have shakes and you have all these different things, you're creating a very acidic environment in your body. You're more prone to muscle soreness when you're a grazer than when you're a faster. Because once you hit 12 hours of fasting, your body uses up all its glycogen. Arguably, it's 12 to 13 hours. I usually say about 12 hours, though. That's why I love to work out at the 12-hour mark. I go into a workout at 12-hour mark, glycogen is already used up. I'm burning fat for energy. I go into fat adaptation. Then when I keep the fast going after my workouts, I'm in pure fat burning mode as long as I want to be. So I'm going to burn a ton more fat. And then my body starts going through the detox period where it starts coming back to homeostasis. Your pH level comes back to normal. And that's a big reason why your energy starts going up and your brain function starts going up and your eyesight starts going up the longer you fast. Because your body naturally comes into more of a balanced state of pH balance. So your alkalinity starts to rise and your acidity starts to go down the longer you fast. Now, sea salt puts back the electrolytes that you lose through sweating. It also is a buffering agent in the system, much like baking soda. So it helps boost your alkalinity. The more alkaline you get, the less inflammation you have. So let's go back to what I first mentioned. Your muscles are being torn. They swell. You look a little swole when you're done working out. It's because it's called inflammation, right? So it's kind of a good inflammation because you're building muscle. You're bulking up. However, it's still inflammation any way you slice it. A pig is still a pig, whether you put lipstick on it or not. When you wipe the lipstick off, it's still a pig. So inflammation is inflammation any way you look at it. So what can I do to try to keep that down? Well, fasting, first of all. The longer you do a fast, the less muscle soreness. When I do my 48-hour fast in the winter, I don't feel nothing. My second workout after about 40 hours, I'm winded because your organs kind of start to atrophy. Your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up. However, muscle soreness is non-existent. I've gone into 48-hour fast with muscle soreness before. And on day 2, I woke up with zero muscle soreness, zero joint pain, flexibility. I could put my hands flat on the floor after 40 hours.
Wow.
Those indicators to me tell me that fasting is magic in the world of reducing muscle soreness. I would say even if you did 24-hour fast, it would be beneficial too. It would be magic. And then if you do the buffering agents like the sea salt and stuff like that, it's going to add even more benefit to the puzzle. But once you're down the rabbit hole fast of muscle soreness, it's already there. you're feeling the delayed onset muscle soreness, yes, a cold bath and that kind of stuff is going to be like a remedy, but I'm saying it's going to be like a short-term remedy. There's nothing that's going to reverse it. Once you get delayed onset muscle soreness, it's going to be there. But these things that I'm telling you to do right now can help expedite it, I do feel. So basically, you're promoting the healing process is what you're doing, and you're reducing the acidity in your body. So your goal is always that. It's like, what can I eat to boost my healing, and what can I do to reverse inflammation? Always. That should always be your goal. And if you do that all the time, you don't have to worry about the long delayed onset muscle soreness, because I have already figured that out too, and that's what I do. So the daily 16 to 18-hour fast, the once a month 48-hour fast, the intermittent fasting of 24 hours here and there speckled in through the weeks, those little things are going to make your body better at healing, and it's going to make you stronger, and it's going to give you more energy during your workouts, and it's going to expedite your recoveries, because healing and recovery are the same thing. Your body is recovering, your muscles are healing, your muscles are recovering in your downtime. You're tearing them down when you work out, then they heal when you're done working out. So in your mind, everyone, you should be thinking, what can I do to expedite my workouts where I'm getting the maximal effect, where I'm healing fast, I'm reducing inflammation, and I'm recovering fast? So the preparatory things you do are going to bleed into your workouts afterwards. So that's what I'm going to talk about next. And we already talked about one of the things, which is try to get as alkaline as you possibly can. And there's some people that...
Question.
Go ahead.
While you're on that point, I don't want you to go to the next topic yet. You mentioned sea salt. Could Himalayan salt have the same effect, or is it just limited to sea salt?
Nope. Himalayan pink salt, any kind of good quality salt, whether it's Celtic sea salt, Himalayan pink salt, if it comes from the Great Salt Lake down the road, anything that is clean and pure is totally fine. What you don't want is the table salt you buy in the grocery stores that have caking agents in them and dextrose, which is actually a sugar. Now stay tuned, everybody, because Jason and I are about to release a series of videos where I unleash my wrath on some of the things you think are healthy that are not, and I explain why they're not, and then I give you the healthy alternative to said product. And salt is going to make an appearance in one of those videos, so stay tuned. My highly explosive reboot, they're going to be called. We'll get to that later.
All right, lovely.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the preparatory stuff that we can do to reduce inflammation.
Yes, okay, so we've got time-restricted eating, first of all, 16-hour minimum. Then we've got add sea salt to your water, drink lots of water, buffering agent. Then we've got eat alkaline foods and drink additional alkaline beverages if you'd like, such as coconut water, such as pH-balanced water. There are some waters out there that actually have a high alkalinity to them that you can buy in a store. And as much as I want to say they're ineffective and don't work, I can't say that because I've gotten them before and I immediately feel different when I drink them. And they're very smooth and they taste delicious. Yes. Do you have any of those in the Caribbean?
I have not seen. Yes, actually, yes. I saw one recently. pH balanced water. I saw one recently. It was alkaline 7.0 or something.
Yeah. Some of them are 7, some of them are 8, 9, whatever. That's a way to do it. Now, in some of our webinars with the ladies down there, we've talked about how to produce more alkalinity through the medium of apple cider vinegar. So you can put apple cider vinegar in your water and mix it around. That's going to boost the alkalinity. You can take some apple cider vinegar and just drink it, a small amount of it. I wouldn't recommend doing it often, but you can if you have to. Funny because I went for a run with Jill once, and all you ladies out there listening, stay tuned. You probably saw me do some videos with Jill, or any of you out there watching. But I went for a run with her once back in like 2012. We get back to her place. She had 2 bottles of apple cider vinegar. She hands me one of them, and she shakes it up, hands it to me. She goes, start chugging it. I was like, what? She goes, just chug it. I didn't even think about it. And she goes, chug as much as you can, as long as you can, much like the cold shower. I'm like, you freaking nuts. So I chugged like 3 gulps. I was like, oh, that's all I can take. She goes, chug again. And she made me do it like 3 times. And I had zip muscle soreness, 0.
Wow.
The next day, and like I felt like amazing. It was really hard to digest it. I don't suggest any of you do that. But apple cider vinegar is good to take to boost your alkalinity. You can put it in water, blend it around. You can make drinks out of it, different things like that. Personally, I'm a big fan of cucumbers. Cucumber in the water. It's very refreshing.
Okay.
And it tastes delicious. You can put lemon in your water, lime in your water, or all 3 together, which I've seen people do. I don't particularly like the harsh, tart flavor of lemon and lime, so I fancy cucumber. So you can throw cucumbers in your water to make it more alkaline and just sip it all day long. So these things, these little things can help your body get more alkaline which is going to produce less lactic acid when you're working out. So it's going to enable you to do more sets, more reps. And then if your body is alkaline going into workouts, it's going to reduce the risk of the high amount of lactic acid buildup, which then can lead to a higher amount of muscle soreness down the road as well, because you're going to be tearing your muscle fibers to more of a degree, and you have an acidic environment, which makes inflammation higher than if you had an alkaline environment in your system. So the goal is, by doing time-restricted eating and shrinking your eating window, you're automatically going to start getting your body into more of an alkaline state there alone. And then if you feed yourself alkaline foods, drink alkaline beverages, you're going to become even more alkaline. And some alkaline foods include greens, romaine hearts, baby spinach, arugula, celery, cucumbers, asparagus, broccoli. Pretty much all of your greens are going to be super good. And then there's charts and stuff you can easily Google out there. But I don't really need to Google anything because I know all this stuff by heart. So you got all those things you can do. Then we got to go to the gut and talk about that.
Let's go. I know you had to touch on that. Does kombucha come in anywhere into this mix?
Kombucha is great. Kombucha is very alkaline. So that could be one of your beverages in your meal. Yeah. So we've established some of those things. Now, work on your gut health. You improve your microbiome, microbiome is technically all of the bacteria that forms your whole body, but there's a high concentration in the stomach. So most people just refer to the stomach as microbiome. There's over 1,000 different types. I think there's like 6,000 different types of bacteria in your stomach, 5,000, 6,000, something like that. Wow. So you want to keep all of that bacteria active and working. And the way to do that is go through a diverse amount of foods that you're going to be including in your diet, a diverse amount of grains, diverse amount of plants, and you can trigger some bacteria with a little bit of meat and dairy and eggs every now and then. And it's going to work absolutely perfectly. That's basically what I do right now, 100%. So prebiotic foods are going to help feed the probiotics which exist in your stomach. We've talked about this in the past too. So bananas are really good. Asparagus is a prebiotic. Whole grains, especially oat bran, oatmeal, artichoke hearts. What?
Garlic as well?
Garlic, leeks, onions, that whole family, alliums they're called. Green onions, all those things are really good because they're prebiotic foods. So you eat those things, and then you eat your probiotic foods, which are fermented ones, like your sauerkraut, your kimchi, your kombucha, tempeh, miso, these kind of things. So if you include all those foods, and most of which I might add are also alkaline. So then you're getting the double whammy there. You're getting the alkaline effect, you're getting prebiotics, which feed the probiotics. Probiotics get all that stuff going down there, and then when you're eating your other foods, they get broken down and they digest well. So the anti-inflammatory foods you might eat are going to help reduce the amount of inflammation in your body. So do you see where this is going? Muscle soreness is a form of inflammation. So instead of saying, I want to try to prevent muscle soreness, you should say, I want to prevent inflammation any chance I get. What can I do to do it? I just told you like a million ways to do that. So if you get your body equipped in all those areas, just think about how much better you're going to perform in your workouts. A lot better.
I'm noticing a link here. I'm noticing a link where acidity is high, inflammation follows, and a host of other diseases take over. Alkaline body, inflammation reduces, and everything fixes. A lot of these webinars that we do, you always mention acid and alkaline, and I'm seeing that link, that pattern between always trying to keep your body in alkaline. So that was an interesting breakthrough there. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. That is 100% true. And ironically, I'm wearing a green tank top today. And I'm a big fan of greens. Green indicates alkaline to me. And it's all the way through, because if you get like pH testers and you pee on them, if it's green, if it's this color green or darker, you're alkaline and you're good. And I was absolutely obsessed with alkalinity back in like 2004. When I was working at this health food store back in Pennsylvania. I'd go out, I'd bring my alkaline testers with me, and every time I had to pee, that's when I was obsessed with drinking at least a gallon of water a day too. We had that discussion a few weeks ago. That's old news. But I'd run in the bathroom excited with my alkaline testers, and I'd be peeing on them, and they'd be like, kind of like light green in the morning, then darker green, and by the afternoon they'd be dark green. I was like, yay, I'm 7.2. I'd be super stoked about it. So you can check your alkalinity with those simple alkaline testers, or whatever they're called, pH testers, I think they're called. You get them in America, you can get them at usually at a health food store. I think Whole Foods has them, or you can get them at what are they called? Pharmacies often have them.
Oh, Walgreens, CVS.
Yeah. Something like that. I've seen them there. So you can get those. What was the other thing? Okay, so here's another trick of the trade while you're working out. This is why I love Indian Club so much. So if you're doing a set of bench presses, for example, let's go beefcake, and you put your bar down or your dumbbells or whatever, instead of just sitting there for 60 seconds, stand up and go like this and shake your arms as fast and as hard as you can. If you're doing any type of exercise, in between your sets, jump up and down your toes and shake your arms and legs. It immediately flushes out the lactic acid like that. It doesn't give the lactic acid enough time to hang around in your muscles, which can lead to muscle soreness too. Yeah. Now, Indian clubs, which are one of my specialties, that's another reason why I love to integrate those in my workouts. So I'll do double kettlebell military presses. I'll park the kettlebells, I'll grab my Indian clubs, and I'll do a set of 20 outward heart shapes. So what ends up happening is all this lactic acid is getting flushed out of my muscles, and I'm bringing oxygenated rich oxygen, I'm bringing nutrient-rich oxygenated blood to my muscles to help flush lactic acid and to speed the recoveries. And it also helps with creating stronger joints as well. So if you do any kind of shaking or movement like that, it flushes out the lactic acid and helps you recover faster between your sets. And you then are able to lift with more efficiency, and you're not going to be able to get as much soreness as you would if you just like sit there. So that's just called active recovery. That's what it's called. Trick of the trade.
Nice. And one more thing I want to ask. In terms of the actual, so we have done the preparatory work. In terms of the actual workout, is there a way that we can structure the workout to avoid the buildup of lactic acid or to avoid muscle soreness? Well, not lactic acid, muscle soreness, to avoid muscle soreness. Is there a way we could structure workouts, or that's not really?
That's a good question, but the answer to that question is it depends on the individual.
Okay.
There's not really a one-size-fits-all strategy. Some people feel muscle soreness more than anyone. If you and I worked out and we did the exact same workout, took the exact same rest breaks, even if it wasn't that high intensity for me, but it felt more high intensity for you, you may end up with massive muscle soreness, and I may end up with nothing.
Okay.
I think it depends on your level of physical literacy at the time and where you're at in your journey. If you're brand new to exercise and never worked out, and we both did the exact same workout, you would probably have a lot of soreness, and I would have nothing, especially if it were exercises that I've done in the past.
Got you. And that comes back to the muscle memory thing.
Yes, it comes back to that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you're about to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying perfect.
Oh, okay. I have to tell this story. I'm gonna do a Quentin Tarantino right now and take a left turn. I have to tell the story because I meant to tell it last time and I forgot all about it. So I used to be in construction years ago when I was a young punk. I got out of high school. And we used to work all morning long, and then we'd go to lunch at this Chinese buffet down the road sometimes. And I remember going there, and I would have like mounds of food, like 3 huge platefuls. And I'd go back to the job site feeling fat and bloated and sick and so tired I could take a nap any minute. And I would get back there, and I couldn't even get my tool belt on. I had to open up another loop in my tool belt. I would slide my tool belts around the back of my body, and I would just be like trying to hammer nails and climb up ladders and like carry shingles, and I'd be huffing and puffing like I was a 90-year-old chain smoker. And it would take about 4 hours for that sensation to go away. And then I would repeat the whole thing. I'd come home and then have a huge dinner again, and the next day I would rinse and repeat. And I get up in the morning and I have 4 bowls of Frosted Flakes with 2% milk, and I go into work.
Wow.
Yeah. Nothing to do with muscle soreness, but the moral of the story is, what kind of diet was I eating right then? Let's put that into perspective. I was still working out too. I'd come home and then I'd work in construction all day. Then I'd come home and work out. Then I'd eat dinner. And again, I was a schmo back then. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was doing all kinds of crazy not body weight, but just like barbell, bench press, all that kind of jazz. It was in my early learning stages. But I was in such an acidic environment. It was unbelievable. And when I did get muscle soreness back then, it did last for days. It lasted for days,
Wow.
probably 5. I remember my calves sometimes were so sore I could barely walk, and my quads and like my chest and stuff. But you'll learn with experience. Now I take all that experience I had and I educate other people on not to do the things I did that were the big mistakes. So one of the biggest things I can tell you is turn your body into a buffering agent, and do premeditated things before you go into the gym that's going to expedite your recoveries and avoid the muscle soreness afterward. I mean, in a pinch, yes, the cold shower works. It's kind of a trendy thing now. But if you really want it to work, try to jump the gun, because sometimes you'll work out and you'll feel like crushed, like your body will feel worked. Like I feel really worked right now. And like I feel like great. I feel tight. I feel solid. But sometimes you'll have that feeling and you're in for some massive muscle soreness down the road. If you think that's going to be the case, like I said, get right in the shower after your workout is over and then go back and forth between hot and cold. It works like a charm.
Very interested. This was surely informative for me. Again, I was more in a listening mood today, because the only thing I have ever done for muscle soreness was cold shower. When you mentioned something that made a lot of sense. Earlier on, when I used to do a lot of bodybuilding, I used a lot of supplements, specifically whey protein, which of course we know shoots the insulin up there and also keeps the body acidic. I used to have more muscle soreness than I do now that I'm intermittent fasting and eating more of a plant-based type diet. So that one I could actually testify to. I can't actually tell when last I had a proper muscle soreness per se. And I do push myself sometimes. So that really makes sense why that actually happened when I shifted dietary plans.
Yeah. And when I went more plant-based direction, and even to this day right now, I'm marveling at how high my energy level is. I just feel like I have an endless supply of energy. It's such a difference. I feel when I was eating more animal protein back in the day, and when I was doing like 6 meals a day and all that jazz, I'm like, I look back on it now and I can't believe I'm even alive. I can't believe I'm alive for all the junk food I eat as a young kid, all those Chinese buffets I went to, first of all. But I also can't believe I was able to maintain such a good definition and like lifestyle as well when I was running down the fool's errand road of healthy eating. I thought I was eating healthy and I was nowhere near it. Eating all the time, eating late at night. I mean, literally I'd eat and go right to bed. That was my thing. Like I did that for years and I preached it in my first learning curve. And I'm like, and then I get up in the morning and work out and I'm like, oh, I'm in fasted state, I'm good. But I was still eating late at night. And it was like, I know I was eating healthy, I was eating clean, but I was eating all the time and all day. And it's like, I just never gave my organs and my body enough time to reset and recover. Because your organs need to recover too. And the best way to do that is intermittent fasting. Muscles are one thing, but what about your heart? And what about your lungs? And what about your liver and your kidneys and everything else? And your skin. They need to be recovered.
And your gut. You always talk about your gut.
Exactly. So when I started shifting my focus that way, I started and going more of a plant-based direction, I started realizing that I had endless supply of energy in my workouts. I didn't get as winded. I didn't stay as winded as long. The recoveries in circuit workouts I was doing was way shorter than when I was doing animal protein. And I noticed fasting for a minimum of 12 hours going into a workout is absolutely, for me, it's huge. If I fast for 8 hours going into a workout, I feel like there's an elephant standing on my chest. 12 hours, I feel like I can go all day and I'm just like Superman.
Nice.
So
nice.
I feel that those little things right there alone can go a long way when it comes to really tightening up your workouts.
Well, thanks for sharing. That was pretty well needed at this time. And what I'll also even add to that, when you add that ability to recover faster or even not have muscle soreness, you can get back to working out a lot faster. You can get through your day with less discomfort, and life can do exercise part can now be a pleasurable activity as opposed to a burden.
Exactly. As you would always say. Yes, that's exactly it. So then it becomes more comfortable. Then it becomes easier. Then it becomes less arduous. Then it becomes like more routine for you. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to get sore. I don't want to get this. I don't want to get that, blah, blah, blah. But if you jump the gun and all that stuff and you get your body acclimated, then it's a magical place to be. And I normally do, every day I do 2 workouts at least. Sometimes I do 3. Yesterday I had intentions to do 3 because I was going to go to a yoga class out of the park. And so I put my yoga mat over my shoulder. I felt like the Pied Piper. See the one that put the flute on his back? I don't know if you know that wives' tale. But I jump on my bike and I rip it because I was running late up to the park, up the road. So I had about a 12-minute bike sprint to the park. And I get there and it's like 5:31. And the class supposedly started at 5:30. There's not a soul there, nobody. There was a bunch of dudes playing soccer on the turf field. And I'm like, someone told me, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah is going to be teaching yoga tonight at 5:30. Don't forget. I'm like, oh, cool. It's a friend of a friend. So I'm like, I'll support her. So I rip over there. There's nobody there. So I'm like, okay, I just did a 12-minute bike sprint for nothing. I was huffing and puffing. My legs, you talk about lactic acid, my legs were on fire when I got there. And I'm like, oh boy, I hope she doesn't do like one leg balances and stuff. My legs are shot. I want just restorative yoga. Well, there was no yoga. So I just came back home and it was all downhill on the way back. And what ended up happening, I guess, is the class was like at 5:45. Everybody came late. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, someone would have cued me in that the thing was coming later. I would have just came later. But long story short, I was wondering if I was going to have some soreness in my legs today when I woke up because I did that such high intensity rip for like 12 minutes straight. And I felt like nothing happened today. Well, my feet were still a little sore from my barefoot run the other day, but no muscle soreness at all.
Nice.
And again, I ripped it the whole time I went up there and I stopped for like 2 minutes. And then I felt like nothing even happened. Like my recovery was so fast and my heart rate came right back down to normal. And then I just rode home.
Nice.
So your body starts to get adapted after a while. And once that happens, you start recognizing the signs and everything just becomes easier. And then it's easy to stay on track with your diet when you start seeing your body coming into shape. When you start seeing a certain definition that you like, it's easier to avoid the late night eating, the late night drinking, the partying, and all those kind of things, a lot of which I was exposed to these past few days. But I ate a lot of watermelon to try to quell my appetite, and it worked like magic. And I was able to survive our holiday weekend out here in America, 4th of July.
Nice.
So, yeah.
This was indeed impactful live. I'm sure the audience learned so much, especially about muscle soreness. And anybody who works out would have experienced that at some point in their life. And those who are strong would have gotten past it. Those who are weak would have used it as an excuse to stop. So now you don't have to. So thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing. And I look forward to your next live.
You betcha. I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure to get at least 8 hugs for 8 seconds today, people. And pick up at least one piece of trash. And always live in the present moment. And do at least one thing beyond your comfort zone today. And do at least one good deed without having anything, an expectation of return. If you can do all those things, not just today, but every day, then you're going to have eternal happiness. I promise you. And if you don't have it soon, it will happen. I promise. So give that a try. Till next time, this is K-Rail, and I'm about to sign off. This is my good friend Jason from down in Grenada. Till next time.
Bye, guys. Take care.
All right, later.